Hi, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to Q&A Tuesday. So a listener asked a great question. It sounds like this. How do I live in the freedom of this daily? Not just because I did the work and did inquiry once, but to have lasting change with the mind, thoughts, and the body. So I love looking at the questions. So how do I live in the freedom of this daily? So notice I have an image when I'm imagining that, when I'm thinking that, imagining that, dreaming of it, wanting it. I have a sense that there's this freedom that can be lived in ongoing and daily. Don't we all have that? Like we're noticing the repetitive action of something rising up. It seems like over and over again. And, the mind is able to remember what happened apparently in the past and project what's happening in the future, what might happen later in the future. I mean, that's what it does. It's brilliant. So this is happening, this sense of seeing the absence of this thing that kind of rises up and looks like it's repeating itself. A condition, a situation, a problem, a struggle. There it is. Here, we're in it again. Compulsion, like where this Q&A that kind of began, is around compulsion. But noticing even the compulsion of a story, like that person's bugging me again, and here I go off to my same job, and I hate my job. Or, I ate again. I overate last night again, or drank again last night, or stressed out, or felt anxious once again. And of course, like this desire, very, very speedy, quick. I mean, just like almost right there in the background, in the foreground, wondering, how come I'm not getting to that place where this is just gone, where that's permanent, lasting, abiding, steady, never ending. I say goodbye to this forever. I've heard about other people that have that experience. I want that experience, and I'm not having it. So how do I get it? I do the work. I understand that this self-inquiry process actually gives me an experience, an opening of some kind of awareness. Beautiful. It does for me too. It's just like, there's an insight, or something's seen, and wow, to really sit and watch all those images flash through the mind so quickly, and kind of settle down with just one concept, just watching how the mind is running and how it's working, and that it's working, and just seeing that it is really busy and activated. It's like stormy on the top of the ocean. The water is choppy, very choppy. And then it sort of settles down, and there's a peaceful opening of, sunny weather. And I want that to last like that forever. I don't want that to go away. Well, we're assuming it's gone. Like, if I feel a lot of thoughts running, if I feel a lot of disrupted emotions, if I'm feeling urges or compulsions, what's unwanted is showing up, if my coworker is there again, or that person in my life, or that family member who annoys me, that's the way they are. Here it is again. Same old thought, we feel peaceful about it, and then it seems to reappear. And just that wish. So I'm just saying, I want this to be permanent. I want this to remain. And of course we would. Of course, it's like, doesn't the mind want our best interest? It's like trying to serve so hard in a way. It's like really trying to serve as well as can be, and help us out and give us what we want. That dream, I want something to be never changing. I want it to stick. And I imagine what that would look like. And I think it isn't here. If compulsion is here, if I'm having this experience where I'm noticing uncomfortable thoughts. That means the peaceful freedom that I'm seeking is absolutely not here. Is it true? I really love that metaphor of even if it's incredibly cloudy and stormy and raining, even if there's a hurricane, the sun is shining behind it. Beyond it, there's a big ball of warm sun actually supplying everything needed for the earth. So is it gone, this state of freedom? So you might say, okay, it seems like it, yes. If you had a movie of yourself or what the inside of yourself appeared and seemed like, we'll say it's not peace, it's not freedom, it's not enlightenment, it's not health, it's not joy or love or kindness, or whatever it is. It's not that. It's not addiction free. Can you absolutely know it's true? This state of freedom is absent. And can you absolutely know that that's true? Even if the mind is really activated and busy, and you're like in the throes of a compulsive story of some kind, compulsive behavior, or even just a compulsive story, like judgment. I can't stand that person. I can't stand this state. Doing that. A bad mood. Even if that's running, can you absolutely know it's true? You have no freedom. Peace doesn't exist there. There isn't loving kindness. I mean, that is an interesting question. It seems like it isn't if I'm not consciously aware, right? It seems like I'm in a state of distress. And I could just feel like I can prove it because of my feelings and my thoughts. These are my thoughts and my feelings, and it proves that I'm uncomfortable and I'm unhappy. And we're not dismissing that they exist. But notice what happens when we believe this means freedom and peace are totally absent. I mean, it's kind of a weird thing, isn't it? Like, because it looks like it is absent. I like the symbol of, people that we've known that have gone to jail for like, huge long sentences, like Nelson Mandela, or monks that live in monasteries for all those years or spend time in silent meditation. And they befriend something within that, even though they are in jail in this lifetime, in the details of what's going on, there's something inside that recognizes, without the silence and the trust and the rest, that there is freedom. There's a sense of freedom. I'm free to, what am I free with? There's a freedom to turn my attention in some ways towards acceptance and peace. There's a freedom to not believe, to question my thinking. I'm free to question it. And it's okay if I have become a believer, because it's quick and it just is there, allowing us. I know when I have thoughts that come through that look scary or creepy or dangerous or sad, I feel a full breath of that emotion or just watch that experience happening. And I wouldn't necessarily say I never, ever, ever want to feel this feeling. It seems like it's part of life, just looking and seeing, and that I don't know. I see what happens when I'm fully immersed in believing. I'm just entranced, enchanted, Enchanted often has kind of a good connotation, but like just deeply, mesmerized by my thinking and my feelings. I do like noticing I'm sensing thoughts and feelings that are running the way they are. The person right next to me isn't. They don't see it the same way. So it seems personal. It is nice to notice that. Does that, if it's personal, this is my experience and what I'm seeing and how my thoughts are running and my feelings are happening. And that means it's true. I just like noticing, somebody in the same room, somebody who was there having the same experience or seeing the same thing could have a totally different experience. I have 3 sisters, and we'll share a memory where we were all there and we were all in the same room, and everybody sees something completely different. It's like the old Taoist story where you have 6 blind men touching an elephant. They've never heard of an elephant or seen an elephant in real life with their eyes. So they each touch the elephant and they're asked, "So what does an elephant look like?" And the one touching the tail says, "Very bushy, spiky, pokey. There's a tuft of tail, like a bush out in the veldt." And the person who's holding the trunk says, "An elephant is like a snake." And the person touching only the side of the elephant says, "Cracked like a dry lake bed, leathery, smooth, and with dents and cracks in it." And the person touching the foot with those big kind of nails says, like lumpy and hard like a rock. They all are still touching the elephant, but they see something completely different. It's depending on their perspective and just what they're able to take in that moment. And that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. But it's just their personal view. And it's only going to be a little piece, a little bite, a little sampling of what is. Who would we be without the story? Like, as we look and say, I want this piece that I've accessed from time to time. I've done the work. I inquire. I sink down. I'm aware. I notice. I have a more expansive view, and I want that to stick around, says the mind. Grab it. I want it to stay present. I want to hold on to it. Who would we be without the story? I mean, we'll just be thinking that if I hold on to it and grab it and keep it and it's here all the time, there's just like a whole world that opens up about what our lives would look like, but we don't really know. And then we're assuming it's not there. Like, I have to do something to get it to stay. I have to do the work. I did the work one time and it lasted a little bit, but it wasn't really permanent. I mean, sometimes something I can offer is that has been powerful for me is noticing when something feels really big, quote unquote, like, oh, this is a hard one. This is a hard situation, relationship, vision, perspective to feel like I could be okay with getting cancer. I'm not sure how I can see this without having some danger within. But if I don't say I shouldn't feel danger, I mean, I just notice that isn't all that's there. Like, what if it's okay? I notice what's the reality? Disease and pain and ailments seem to appear. The body isn't going to last. Am I my body? Is that who I am? Am I the one that has to make it survive and be a certain way? I really don't know. I can't find an answer to yes to that one. Do I have to make this freedom and peace stick around? I mean, who would I be without the story? I want permanent change. I want permanent freedom and peace. Who would I be if that wasn't necessary? Who would I be if that wasn't even what the elephant looks like? Like, I'm just getting a little glimpse. I've had a glimpse. And what if it's okay that I glimpse as much as I do? And just trust. entering the don't know mind. I just really don't know. If none of my thinking is the absolute truth, end all, be all truth for all time with a capital T, because I don't see how it possibly could be from my personal perspective. I mean, who would I be? I mean, just human being with thinking happening and with feelings happening and lots of images happening. Just underway with life, being in life, noticing already that this abiding peace, or there's something within that is very steady, very centered, even kind of solid, that might have been there with me from the beginning. If I'm saying me, I don't know, but just that there's things like there's the activities and the things that happen in life day to day, and then there's something steady, just being with it all as all of it changes and moves. There's something steady here. I mean, could it be, just entertaining the thought, that peace and freedom are here, even if I don't recognize it, even if I don't think they are? Like the sun is shining, even if the weather looks horrendous. Who am I? I mean, what if that's the case? I do like to notice, what are my examples? Can I find that? I do seem to still be alive, even if I've had the bouts of stress, and troubling situations move through, and difficulties and hardships. Something is steady here. Something continues. Something's very, very persistent, still present, willing. What if nothing was required? Like doing the work so that I can get to that peaceful, free place. And it is amazing to have the work, because it's sort of a step by step, like follow simple directions, and you can wonder with these beautiful questions, is what I'm seeing the truth? Noticing what happens. I'm in it because I'm activated and I'm stressed. It means I'm believing my thinking. I'm believing that what's happening is the truth. I'm believing in the threat of what's going on. I'm absolutely thinking I'm not free. I'm not at peace. I'm not just steady and stable. And that question, and so who am I without all that story running? Who am I without the story? I need to get to permanent, lasting freedom. And I even know what it is. You know, don't you love how the mind is saying, it's not here, this permanent, lasting freedom? Gone. Now I've got proof. Let me tell you about it. Let me show you. Suffer, 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 suffer. Struggling, struggling, struggling. Can I just let whatever I've experienced be there? It is nice to see anything that I've experienced is kind of in the past and no longer exists. It is truly over, except for my memory and reminding and, recalling it, which is nothing wrong, because I just love the way the mind can do that. It's brilliant. But except for that, it's actually not happening in this moment. Who would I be without my story? The only way I'll be happy is if I get to this permanent, lasting freedom place. And it looks like, the work only temporarily makes things possible. The turnaround is very exciting. Just to imagine and be with, and not even necessarily imagine, but touch that place that says, that feels permanent, lasting freedom is here. I am free already. I know so many of our minds at different times and different places. Believe me, I would say, no, I'm not. I am not. Um, I've been, I've been struggling for, 10 years, or this has never been, I have no freedom in this, and I'll tell you why, and look at the terrible things that have happened. And those are all so, that's been my experience. And so that's okay. But it'll just love to dive in, at least if your mind is like mine, showing how it proves I'm not free. Did you see the way I ate? Um, I seem to be over drinking or over buying, or I don't have enough money. This isn't going right in my relationship. I'm not free. It just rushes to show that that's the case, or hold on to the case like, hey, I need to make my point. The kindness of being a respectful listener to that one, instead of just brushing it off or demanding that it leave or saying, get away from me. You aren't welcome here. I want permanent lasting freedom. So it's like asking my thinking has to be a certain way for me to be happy. What if it's okay to just leave my thinking alone? That seems kind of odd, or maybe like a paradox when we're so interested in inquiry here, like loving, questioning our thoughts. But I just love that the very nature of questioning a thought is knowing it isn't the truth. Just being willing to say it's just a thought, can't be the truth for all time. Thought is just changing and moving and flying all around like butterflies. And we try to, get the right thought, kind of get the free thought. Who would I be without my story? I'm not free. I'm not peaceful. And I want it to be abiding and permanent. Golly, to me, it's just so exciting. It's like, then it's okay, whatever happens. I'll probably have suffering thoughts, and it's okay. It won't be called a failure. It won't mean, oh no, there went my permanent freedom. It's just kind of okay that it comes along. I'll, have heartbreak or fear or sadness, or, a flurry of adrenaline will appear. That's okay. Who would I be without my story? Who would I be? Strange, isn't it, to see, like, what if it was okay to just be, even with compulsive behavior, but what if there is something that is just deeply, inherently peaceful and free, already present? You notice that the mind wants to say, no, it isn't. But can you know that that's true? I mean, I can't know for absolutely that's not true. I mean, here I am, all that time of binge eating that I did, or any kind of compulsive fearful thinking, it would pass. I would be able to sleep again if something dangerous happened. One time I came across a car accident, and it had literally just happened a long time ago. I was with my first husband, and it was prior to us having kids. We hadn't been married long. We came around a corner and there was a car accident. And we both just moved into this. We had this adrenaline that kind of rose up, and we just pulled over. It was before cell phones and before internet stuff. And we moved towards the car accident. It looked like there was a boy, there was a 6-year-old boy, and then there was a mother. And everybody, the two people were alive. And I just went straight to the woman who had a lot of blood on her head, but she was talking and sort of incoherently. And my husband went to the boy and sat with him. Somebody else had just pulled up, the next car came, and they were like, I will go to the first place and make the phone call. And we stayed until a helicopter came. And afterwards, it was amazing that it was just sort of following simple, like we got a blanket from our car, put the blanket over this woman, and just saw different flashes of other people stopping and what was going on there at that moment. And then it was all over, and everything was being handled, and we got in the car and just continued along our way. And we were on a long road trip. And I couldn't sleep for 3 nights in a row. I just kept seeing, the blood and the scene and the car, and all of it was just flashing, flashing, flashing. It was frightening. And then I noticed that it passed. It's like I could sleep just a little bit. I was saying I can't sleep at all. Is that true? No, I slept. I slept at some point. I slept poorly by comparison to good night's sleep. And I had the thoughts in my head, and I woke up, in the middle of the night with the thoughts, but there was sleeping happening. And after 3 nights and telling, wherever we went and kind of talking about it and allowing it to move, the experience to move through, and everything that was frightening there about all that scene, it faded out and it was okay. And I can still remember and see the images, but not as well. And they have no feeling sense within. They don't spark, fear kind of around death and dying and surprises and accidents that are dangerous, which any survival mechanism would kick in and do. But I just notice, if I'm not criticizing that one who couldn't sleep well for 3 days, if that's not wrong, where's my permanent lasting freedom? Where's the permanent peace? Where is it? It's gone. It should be here. I just know it actually fades out all by itself. And I even notice during that experience, there was dozing and sleeping and then processing and talking about it and crying a bit with one of my sisters and telling her about it. And, just aware, being, not so horrendous. Later in life, when I bumped into the work or was considering and noticing thoughts about death and dying, I recognize, great fear of death, great fear of surprise accidents and death and dangers and injury. And so I can look and sit like, in this world where injury happens to the body, does that mean freedom and peace is taken away? Is that true? Profound inquiry, really profound. So just finding your turnarounds. Could it be possible that it's still here? And I can see even in that time, it was still present. I wasn't completely awake for 3 whole days. I would tell the story that way, but that wasn't the case. And it faded out. If I had had the project, like, I need to be worried about this for the rest of my life, I wouldn't have been able to do it. I would have forgotten about it. There would have been other things that would come along of interest. And so relaxing happened. Peace came up and freedom came up to meet that moment. Even noticing, can we absolutely know it's true that it's bad to get injured or die? Looks like in reality that happens. Who would I be without my personal story? I just think keep going with the inquiry, something is underway that just continues, and it's beautiful, and change happens. So maybe this permanent thing that I think is absent is here, and maybe in change is a sort of joyful awareness, just being with reality as it is. I know it's a great question, and it's a deep one. So Just if you notice, fears like that appearing, can keep on watching the way the mind works with thoughts about freedom and peace or the absence of them. And just wonder, wow, I really get off, hooked into that story that it's gone. And that's okay. It's totally okay. Doesn't mean it is. All right. Lots of love, everybody. Take care.